Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is Lee from Bleeped Up Productions, and today we're bringing you something a little bit different on this channel. We normally do Transformers TCG, but due to... Corona, we are in a bit of an interesting situation with our whole livelihoods. It's affecting not just us gamers, but it's affecting the whole entire world. So I thought I'd bring you a deck profile. So I've only done one deck profile in the past, and that was a Bumblebee one, which you can go check on the screen right now. But I wanted to do one around Sergeant Cog. Now, Sergeant Cog, when he first came out, he wasn't that great. But I've been keeping tabs on this guy. And he's actually really, really good right now. He's really, really strong, and I'm going to show you why. But anyway, we have a Sergeant Cog deck, and I'm really, really looking forward to bringing it to you today. So the format of these episodes, because I'm going to do multiple different deck profiles, is we have the character breakdowns, the characters that are included in the deck. We also have the deck, which will include all the battle cards. And then the third part, which is key plays with this deck. So stuff that you can, basic little tips of how to play this deck if you wanted to test it out, in your meta. So without further ado, let's get straight into the character breakdowns. And the first character breakdown is our main cog, no pun intended, of the deck, which is Sergeant Cog. He is a weaponizer, he is ranged, he's got an attack of 4, a health of 12, and an armor/defense of 1. He hasn't got anything special because he's a weaponizer. So obviously, from the back, guys, he's got decent-ish health. And he's got a decent attack, but what makes this guy incredible is his weaponizer mode. So when you flip him, aka when he dies, he becomes a heavy force defense breaker cannon. Yeah, probably one of the best names ever for a card in this game so far. And he is a weapon, upgrade weapon. He basically gives you 4 attack, and then it states on his card, when you put this on a character, draw a card for each character you have on the battlefield. Then you may play an upgrade onto each of these characters. Yes, that's really, really good, guys. And if he would leave the battlefield, you put it into the KO area instead. So obviously, if you can bring him back, you will trigger that ability over and over again. So it's very, very strong. He is amazing. If you go look back at him, guys. Cog is awesome. So the 3 other individuals we're working with are the Tonka trucks, because I was looking at stuff that I wanted to work with, and I think because the Tonka trucks are quite powerful right now.
We wondered what would happen if an elephant stepped on a Tonka toy. A toy shouldn't break just because a child plays with it.
I was looking at them because I've never really played them, and with Sergeant Cog, these guys go to another level, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to look at Private Powertrain. He's the main geezer of the off-road patrol. He's a leader. He's got off-road patrol as a keyword. He's a truck, and he is melee. He's got an attack of 3, a health of 8, and a armor/defense of 2. He has stealth when he is untapped, and each of your off-road patrols gain bold 1, which is very, very good. And then when you flip him to his bot mode, he has leader, off-road patrol, and melee. His attack is 2, his health is 8, and his armor/defense is 2. And then he's got, in this text box here, this has +1 and +1 defense for each off-road patrol in your KO area. So yeah, you want your other guys, unfortunately, to die so this guy can hit a little bit harder. So moving on from him, we've got Private Mudslinger, and he is an off-road patrol truck melee for his keywords. He's also got stealth, and he's got an attack of 3, health of 7, and a defense/armor of 1. And when you flip him from his alt mode to his bot mode, he basically has all the same stats, except his attack goes down by 1, so it goes to 2. But he has this ability, when you tap him, you can scrap a black card to move 1 damage counter from one of your characters to an enemy. But we won't be using that because we're keeping him as that lovely blue truck that you saw earlier. Now, the final character in this deck is Private High Jump. He is basically an off-road patrol. He's a truck, he's a melee. He's got an attack of 3, a health of 6, and an armor/defense of 1. He also has stealth in alt mode, which is very, very unique to this deck. And I'll tell you why later. And then we flip him to bot mode, and in bot mode he has an attack of 3, a health of 6, a defense of 1, and again he has a tap ability which is scrap a black card and another card from your hand to draw 2 cards. But we won't be using those abilities, unfortunately, because Mudslinger and High Jump will be staying as Tonka trucks for the majority of this game. So, with that being said, guys, they're the character breakdowns. Obviously, you can see the 2 main pieces for characters is Powertrain and Cog. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into the battle deck next, and then we're going to get into the key plays of this deck. Okay guys, so we're coming to the deck, and the deck is basically 40 cards. I normally go between 40 to 44 whenever I seem to build, but I kept it at 40 because we want to get through these cards quite quickly, because this deck is all around orange and bold and getting upgrades out there early on your characters to make them hit really, really hard, which is surprisingly awesome in this deck. So we have 19 upgrades and we have 21 actions. So we're going to go through the upgrades first, and the first card we're going to talk about is Grenade Launcher. Grenade Launcher is a great card. It's an orange pip, and it gives you +4 attack and then you scrap it. But Grenade Launcher is just phenomenal. It's an auto-include if you're ever going to be trying to destroy big things, because, yeah, Grenade Launcher is freaking amazing. The next card we're going to talk about is Power Punch. We're going to have 3 of these in the deck. Power Punch gives you bold 3. It's a weapon. So basically, if you think about it, when we use Powertrain, he's got a bold 1 built in for all other trucks. If you give one of those they eventually go to bold 4, which is very, very good for a little truck that just basically wants to smash face. The next card is going to be Bashing Shield. Bashing Shield is a fantastic card. We're going to have 2 of these in our deck. Basically, it's an armor, but it's here as removal, because when you put this on a character, scrap an enemy armor, it kind of is self-explanatory. It's one of these armors you want to put on your characters to either increase their defense or basically use it as a removal to get rid of some really good armor on your opponent's side of the table. The next card we're going to talk about is Enforcement Batons. We're going to have 2 of these in the deck. It's orange and green, just kind of like a Bashing Shield. You can search these, which is really good if you flip them during the attack phase. It's a weapon. It gives you +1, but when you put this on a character, you may scrap an enemy weapon, which is very, very strong to get rid of, say, attack drones or any other kind of cards that are out there, like, yeah, just say Prime's Blaster at the moment and loads of other fun stuff. You can get rid of those through using Enforcement Batons. So, moving on to the next upgrade, we're going to talk about Force Field. Force Field is a fantastic card. Absolutely love this card. It's a white pip, so it benefits you when you're flipping in attack or defense. It's an armor, and basically when you would take 5 or more damage, you only take 4. So you want to put these on the little guys and just keep them alive for long as possible, because trust me, these trucks hit horrifically hard. Horrifically hard, not gonna lie. And we're gonna have 3 of those in our deck. The next upgrade we're going to talk about is the Matrix of Leadership. This is in the deck because Powertrain is a leader. And the best thing about this card, it gives you +1 attack for whoever you give it to. But if you give it to Powertrain, basically he gives all the other characters +1 attack, +1 pierce. So if you put this on Powertrain, he's giving all the other off-road patrols +1 bold, +1 pierce, and +1 attack. Very, very good. And it's an orange and blue pip, so it's good on attack and defense. And we're running 3 of those in this deck. And then the final upgrade, which isn't really important because we're really using it for the pips, is Improvised Shield. It's 2 orange pips, so on the flips and attacks that we want to flip these cards more than anything. It's an armor. If you do want to play it, it's a tough one, but really it's in the deck for the pips because you want to flip a ton of amazing things with that. Now, moving on, we're going to get straight into the actions. And the actions in this deck are as follows. We're going to kick things off with 1 Leap of Faith, because this deck, this whole character team with all the stars added up is only going to be 24. So we had 1 star card left over, and we're going to go with Leap of Faith because it's so good. Because when you play it, you scrap the top card of your deck and you may play it. Then you may scrap another card from the top of your deck and then you may play it. So there's another way of getting more actions out or more upgrades out on your little guys. It's a fantastic card, and we're running 1 of them in our deck. The next card is going to be Ramming Speed. Ramming Speed is a great action. It's bog standard simple card. Scrap an enemy upgrade. So it's an orange pip. You basically use this card to get rid of utilities. You get rid of it through the armors or the weapons, but obviously we've got, you know, the bashing shields, and we've also got enforcement batons in there to do that. But it's in there to get rid of upgrades that might just be annoying for you. The next card we're going to talk about is Head-On Collision. Head-On Collision is a white pip. It's an action. It basically says choose one of your characters. It gets +3 while attacking in alt mode this turn. So yeah, spoiler alert, guys, this card really is for Powertrain, Mudslinger, and High Jump. When you get this, you get +3 attack. It's fantastic. It's a really good card. You're never really going to get them out of their truck modes until a few of them have died, but that's later on in the video. We're going to talk about that. So we're running 3 of Head-On Collision. The next card we're going to talk about is Reckless Charge. Yes, that's right, Reckless Charge. A card I don't really use as much, but I wanted to put it in this deck because it just seems really, really stupid for a truck. It just seems really, really good. So Reckless Charge, it's an action, it's an orange pip, and it says one of your characters gets +4 until the end of turn, and at the end of the turn, do 3 damage to it. This card has won me many games just because I've played it and then basically hit and destroyed the enemy character, winning the game. And then because that the other opponent's card blew up before my card, I basically rammed him with my truck, killed him, and then at the end of my turn, my car would, or shall we say truck, would blow up, but I technically win the game. It's an interesting card. It's very, very good. You should go back and look at it if you're not playing Reckless Charge, guys. It's really, really strong. The next card is Supercharge. It's an orange pip. It's an action, and it says one of your characters gets bold 3 until the end of turn. So, yeah, there's another big thing for you guys. A bold 3. You can't argue with it. It's very, very strong. It's very, very good. The next card we're going to talk about is one of the main cogs in the deck, in the battle cards, is basically the action 4-wheel drive. Choose one of your characters until the end of turn. Its base attack becomes 7 as long as it's a truck. As you can see, most of these trucks are just standard 3 attack. From going from 3 to 7, and then with all the other stuff that we've got in this deck, yeah, you're hitting really, really hard, which is surprisingly amazing. So some people say that might be the card of Wave 4. I think it is, as well as Sturdy Javelin, but that's just my personal opinion. Leave comments in below. Tell me your thoughts on the best card in Wave 4. The next card we're going to talk about is Peace Through Tyranny. This is a very interesting card because we're running 3 of them. We're also running 3 of the 4-wheel drive as well, guys, just to give you a heads up. Peace Through Tyranny is an action which is you may KO one of your characters that has 6 or more stars. If you do, take an extra turn after this one. So obviously the only one it can really KO is Cog. Now, how you play this deck and what we're going to get to later on is very, very interesting. So this card is very situational, but it's mainly there for the 2 orange pips. But trust me, I've played this card just when Cog's been on 1 life, and it's really, really changed the whole meta of a game, just because you KO him, you basically do Peace Through Tyranny, KO that guy, flip him to his other mode, so then you draw X amount of cards for how many characters you have on the board, you then play upgrades, then you do your other extra part of your turn, then you attack, and then it's your turn again. So you can see how much of a swing that is Peace Through Tyranny in this deck. It's very, very interesting, but it's very situational. And then we've got 2 more actions left, and we've got 1 Confidence in the deck, because I really like Confidence. It's an orange pip. It says draw 2 cards and scrap 2 cards from your hand. And then if you began the game with only Autobot characters, you may play an action. So I'm only playing 1 in this deck because the other card that I'm going to talk to I think has got more value in this deck. But I really like this because at certain points you just want to keep drawing cards and scrapping cards from your hand that you don't want in your hand, such as improvised shields or, dare we say, Peace Through Tyrannies and stuff, because you want those pips to do damage. So we're running 1 Confidence, and then the last card of this deck is 2 of Incoming Transmission. Now, Incoming Transmission is an orange pip, and basically it says draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So there's 2 of these in this deck just because when you get to draw more cards, which is great. Then you get to plan cards, which is getting those double pips out of your hand if you want to do some horrific amount of damage. Or you're looking for those 4-wheel drives, or dare we say it, reckless charges, supercharges, or even, you know, upgrades that you really want. It's very, very good, this card. It's very, very amazing, and it really works well in this deck, so that's why it is included. So, that is the deck, guys, and we're going to move on to part 3 now, guys, which is key plays for this deck. Okay, so we are back with the final part of this deck profile, guys, and it is key plays with this deck. And we basically have 3 plays for this deck, guys, because trust me, you'll have a ton of fun playing it, and your opponent will either love you or hate you for it. So the first part in it, which is quite comical, is Cog Must Die.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, this is one of the most key parts of the deck, which is quite funny. So every other part of my characters have stealth. So the funniest thing about it is if you go second or if you go first, if you go first, you're leading with Cog, no matter what, because you can't really flip any cards because there's no point. But if you're going second, because Power Train, High Jump, and Mudslinger have stealth, they have to hit Cog. Now, this is really interesting because obviously if you're playing another deck that hits really, really hard, if Cog dies immediately, you then put it on a character. I recommend putting it on Power Train. And then after that, you then draw 3 cards, and then you get to play 3 upgrades. And as you can tell, we're running 19 upgrades and 21 actions. So you're probably going to hit a few of the upgrades. So then you choose wisely what you want to do. But guys, it's just so interesting how much of a power curve Cog is, because if you get him off the board quickly, which you can do because everyone else has stealth, tooling up all the trucks before they even get your opponent gets an opportunity to upgrade their characters is a huge swing in your advantage. It's ridiculous, I tell you. It's just absolutely fantastic seeing all these trucks all of a sudden. One weaponizer explodes. You put the amazing cannon defense of Joy on Power Train, and then basically you draw 3 cards, and then you play 3 upgrades if you have them. And it's just incredible. Like, it really is fun when you just go, and you can have this one, and you can have this upgrade. It's just hilarious. So that's the first key point of this deck. The second one is keep Power Train alive. Now, this guy is the other key cog in the deck next to, obviously, Cog. Now, in bot mode, he has +1 attack and +1 defense for each off-road patrol that dies. So again, the other trucks need to go in before this guy does. So obviously, he's your last hitter, obviously. And with this card, there's cards in this deck that really, really benefit Power Train, such as Matrix of Leadership, which grants all the other trucks +1 attack, +1 pierce. But also, because Power Train gives everyone, all the other baby trucks, Bold 1, you want to keep him back because he's very, very good. And then the one thing I would always say in this deck, which is obviously in the upgrades, is force field. You need to make sure you put a force field on him because people will try and just bash him in the face as much as possible, which is fine because most of the time your opponents will just go for him because, yeah, he is one of the key cogs in this deck. So 9 times out of 10, your opponent will just constantly keep taking upgrades off Power Train. So you're okay giving him a force field, or even some of the smaller guys a force field, because they can come in and hit ridiculously hard with 4-wheel drive, and then flipping all those cards, etc., and hitting really hard, and then they've got a force field, so then your opponent's going to come and punch you, and then the majority of the time you're only going to be taking 4, so you're still alive. It's very, very strong, very, very good. And then the third thing I've got to say about this deck is that it really, really cycles through cards quickly. So the one thing I've noticed with this deck is that it relies a lot on bold. So the deck is all about bold. So what you want to do is you want to do card management really well. As soon as you get those improvised shields into your hand, you want to get them out of your hand right away. So you want to either put them on a character that's about to die, because then that goes in there, or you can get rid of it with incoming transmission, which is a really good play. You just don't want them in your hands. So you need to get the double pips out. Also, when it comes to card management, 4-wheel drive, you want to play that every single time you have in your deck because you really want to punch really, really hard. And then on top of that, you also want to add a grenade launcher in there as well. So your character goes from being a measly 3 to base 7 and then 11 without flips. So you're flipping 2 cards and then you're getting bold 1 because of Power Train. Very, very strong. So what you want to do is you want to just basically hit really hard with the small guys and, yeah, just card manage really, really wisely, which is very, very simple with this deck because you will go through cards really, really quickly because of certain cogs, no pun intended, in this deck. So, guys, that was my first deck profile, well, second deck profile, because I did a Bumblebee ages ago because I wanted to play Bumblebee. 3Bs, should we say. I just want to do these videos because obviously we're in interesting times and Mike, myself, and Dee can't really get together to play games. I know there's a group out there on the Facebooks, that's probably coming up on the screen right now, where we can play Transformers still via webcam. So I'm going to be jumping in for some games here and there. So if you want to hit me up, guys, I'm in the group as Lee McAlpin. Just drop me a message. I'll definitely be willing to have a few games with you throughout this quarantine. Yeah, without further ado, guys, please leave a like. A like is much appreciated. Check out our other Transformers content, our battle reports, our card reviews, our unboxings, you name it, we've done it. Our other podcasts that we do, which is One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. And also, we've just recently been on a podcast with Jamie from Powered by Primus. The video should be on the screen right now as well. So yeah, go check out that and go hit him up because Jamie's a really sound guy. So without further ado, guys, take care, have a good one, and we'll see you in the not too distant future for another deck profile with one of my favorite big dinosaurs. Take care.